My fiancée said she was stuck with me forever. I exposed her, canceled the wedding, collected $4,500 from her family, and she was left dumped, humiliated, and begging at my door in her wedding gown. I'm Alex, 30, and up until last month, I thought my life was on the right track. I had a fiancée, Jenna, 28, who I believed was my partner for the long haul. We'd been together for 3 years, and in just 4 weeks we were supposed to be standing at the altar, saying our vows. Everything was ready. The venue booked, the band paid for, even the honeymoon planned down to the last detail. My parents had already covered half the costs, and I'd been working extra hours to make sure the rest was squared away. It felt like everything in my world was building toward that one day. I wasn't nervous, I was excited. Jenna and I had our ups and downs like any couple, but I genuinely thought she was the love of my life. Then came one Saturday night. I was home by myself, scrolling on Instagram, when I saw a notification that Jenna had posted something new. I tapped on it, expecting maybe a selfie with her bridesmaids or some silly bachelorette decorations. Instead, my screen filled with a shaky video from a crowded nightclub. Jenna was in the center of the frame, holding a drink, laughing with her friends. The music was loud even through my phone speakers. She was dancing close, way too close, with some guy I didn't recognize. His hands were on her hips while she leaned into him like they'd done this before. That alone stung, but it was the caption that made my chest feel heavy. Last night of freedom before I'm stuck with him forever. My thumb froze on the screen. I reread the words 3 4 times. Stuck with him forever. With me. As if that wasn't enough, her friends jumped into the comments within seconds. Get it all out of your system, girl. Poor Alex has no idea what's coming. This is your one free pass before the ball and chain. I could feel heat rising in my face. It wasn't just her being reckless. It was the way the people closest to her spoke about me, like I was some prison sentence. Like this wedding was a joke. I sat there staring at my phone, not moving, not blinking. I wasn't usually the jealous type. If anything, I trusted Jenna more than I should have. But this wasn't a matter of trust anymore. It was about respect. And what I was reading didn't look like respect in any shape or form. For a few minutes, I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to call her right then and there, demand an explanation. Another part of me thought I should just wait until she got home and talk face to face. But as the comments kept stacking up under that video, I felt like something inside me was unraveling. This wasn't just a bad caption. It wasn't just a party video. It was a glimpse into how she really saw me and how her friends saw our relationship. And the worst part was, she didn't seem to care who else saw it too. I closed the app and set my phone down, but I couldn't calm down. Every time I tried to convince myself it was just a stupid joke, the image of her grinding on that stranger played in my head. The caption echoed like it was carved into the screen. Last night of freedom before I'm stuck with him forever. That sentence felt like the start of something I wasn't ready to admit. Maybe I wasn't about to marry the love of my life after all. After sitting in silence for what felt like forever, I finally picked up my phone again. My chest was tight, but my hands were steady. I scrolled back to Jenna's post, looked at the caption one more time, and started typing. Congratulations on your freedom. That was all I wrote. Short, cold, final. Then I hit post. The second the words went live, I set my phone on the table and leaned back in my chair. My heart was racing, but it wasn't fear anymore. It was something sharper. Because the truth was, this hadn't come completely out of nowhere. Just 4 days earlier, Jenna had told me she was staying over at her friend Megan's place to help with last-minute wedding prep. She said they were organizing decorations, going over seating charts, and making bridesmaid favors. I didn't think twice about it. Why would I? Megan had been her closest friend since college. But later that night, around midnight, my Ring doorbell app buzzed. I glanced at the alert, figuring maybe Jenna had come home early to grab something. Instead, I watched her walk up to our front door, and she wasn't alone. A man I'd never seen before stood beside her. He had a short beard, a leather jacket, and the kind of body language that made it obvious this wasn't their first time together. He leaned in, kissed her, grabbed her waist like he owned it. She laughed quietly, whispered something I couldn't hear, then waved him off before slipping inside. I must have replayed that clip 20 times over the next couple of days. Each time I told myself I had to be mistaken. Maybe it was an old friend she hadn't mentioned. Maybe it was some kind of drunk, one-time mistake. But the way she acted, comfortable, intimate, like this was a routine, that's what stayed in my head. Now, with her bachelorette video and that caption, it didn't feel like maybe anymore. It felt like I'd been staring at the truth and refusing to accept it. So I went back to her Instagram post. I hit the share button, uploaded the Ring footage, and captioned it. Tuesday's preview of your freedom. Within minutes, my phone started vibrating nonstop. Likes, comments, private messages. I could barely keep up. What shocked me most was how quickly word spread. Friends of friends were tagging each other, dropping shocked emojis, demanding answers. And then came the phone calls. The first one was from an unknown number, but I knew immediately who it was. Alex, what the hell are you doing? Take that video down right now. It was Patricia, Jenna's mom. Her voice was sharp, panicked, like I'd just flipped their world upside down. Why? I asked, keeping my voice calm. It's just doorbell footage. You're humiliating my daughter over one stupid mistake, she snapped. One, I said, sitting forward. Patricia, check the timestamp. That was Tuesday. Tonight's video is just part 2. There was silence for a second, then the sound of her breathing hard into the phone. Finally, she said, you can't just throw away 3 years over this. The wedding is in 4 weeks. The deposits are paid. Her words hit me, but not the way she intended. For her, the money was more important than the betrayal. For me, the betrayal made the money meaningless. Sounds like Jenna's problem, not mine, I said flatly. Then I hung up. The second the call ended, my phone lit up again, this time with Jenna's name flashing across the screen. Then again, and again. In less than an hour, she tried calling over 40 times. I didn't answer once. Instead, I opened the group chat that had been set up for wedding planning. Both families, close friends, everyone involved. I typed a single message. Wedding's off. Refunds will be processed. Don't bother asking questions. Check Jenna's Instagram. For a moment, the chat was completely silent. Then it erupted. Messages flying so fast I couldn't keep up. Some were confused. Some were furious. A few tried to defend Jenna. But most? Shock. Pure shock. And me? For the first time in days, I felt strangely calm. After the chaos in the wedding group chat, I put my phone face down on the table and just sat there listening to the vibrations rattle against the wood. It felt like the whole world was trying to reach me. Calls, messages, notifications, but I didn't move. I'd already said everything that needed to be said. The chat itself had gone off the rails. Some people fired off strings of question marks. Others demanded explanations. A couple of Jenna's bridesmaids defended her, saying, it was just a party. Alex, lighten up. My cousin chimed in with, check her caption again before you tell him to lighten up. That pretty much ended the back and forth. I didn't stick around to read the rest. There was nothing more for me to explain. I hadn't written the caption. I hadn't filmed the video. I just put the pieces together and let everyone else see what I'd been seeing. Meanwhile, Jenna kept trying to get through. 40+ calls in less than an hour. I let every single one go to voicemail. Some were angry. Some were crying. One of them was just silence with her breathing in the background before she hung up. I didn't respond. Instead, I started making phone calls of my own, practical ones. First, I called the venue and told them to cancel the booking under my name. The woman on the other end was polite but shocked. Sir, are you sure? The date is just weeks away. Yes, I said. Cancel it. Send me the paperwork. Then I reached out to the photographer, an old friend of mine who'd offered us a discount. I told him to forget about it. He sounded disappointed, but when I explained in short what happened, he just said, man, you're better off. Next was the band, then the honeymoon reservations. Piece by piece, I started dismantling what had taken months to build. It should have felt heavy, but it didn't. It felt like cleaning up a house after a storm. Messy, necessary, but also freeing. Around 2 a.m., Jenna finally switched from calling to texting. Alex, you don't understand. It was just a joke caption. I wasn't serious. Can we talk? I stared at that message for a long time. A joke? Grinding on some stranger at a club was a joke? Coming home with another man on Tuesday was a joke? No, this wasn't miscommunication. This was who she really was when I wasn't around. I didn't reply. Instead, I threw some clothes into a bag, grabbed my essentials, and drove over to my brother Ryan's apartment. When I got there, he was half asleep, but he didn't ask questions. He just opened the door, let me crash on the couch, and handed me a blanket. As I lay there staring at the ceiling, my phone buzzed again, this time with notifications from another group chat. I'd forgotten I was still in Jenna's private bridesmaids chat, where they were panicking. Megan, someone needs to delete that video. Alex is out of control. Hannah, wait, is that Tyler's jacket? That looks like Tyler from the gym. Bridesmaid, oh my god, it is Tyler. Doesn't he have a girlfriend? I let out a short laugh, the first one of the night. I didn't have to say a word. Her friends were outing her themselves. I set the phone down and pulled the blanket over me. For the first time in days, I felt a strange kind of relief. Not happiness, not yet, but relief. Because now, the mask was slipping, and Jenna couldn't hide behind captions or excuses anymore. The next morning, I woke up on Ryan's couch to the sound of my phone buzzing nonstop on the coffee table. Over 100 missed calls, dozens of texts, even voicemails from numbers I didn't recognize. Jenna wasn't backing down. Her first move was damage control. She posted a Notes app apology on Instagram for everyone to see. The text was long, But the gist of it was, I never should have posted that caption. Alex misunderstood. He's always been insecure about me having male friends. Nothing happened with anyone at my bachelorette. Please stop sending me hate. I read it once, twice, then a third time. I could almost hear her voice in my head, spinning the story to make herself look like the victim. But then she slipped. In the middle of her apology, she wrote, Alex has always been controlling about Tyler, even though nothing ever happened. My stomach tightened, not because she said Tyler's name, but because I had never said it. Not once. The ring footage wasn't clear enough to show his face. I hadn't confronted her with that detail. So how did she know I was talking about Tyler? She outed herself without realizing it. And the comments section turned on her almost immediately. Wait, how do you know it's Tyler if nothing happened? That's not the defense you think it is. So Tuesday wasn't wedding prep after all, huh? Watching the tide shift in real time was surreal. The same people who were defending her the night before were now suspiciously quiet, while others started piling on. The internet can be cruel, but this time, I didn't feel bad. She had written the script herself. Then came the real bomb. Tyler's girlfriend, who I didn't even know existed, left a comment under Jenna's apology. This is where you were Tuesday night. Unreal. For a few minutes, it just sat there, racking up likes and replies. Then the whole post vanished. Deleted. But the damage was already done. Screenshots were everywhere, and Jenna's version of events crumbled. Around noon, there was a loud knock at Ryan's door. He looked through the peephole and rolled his eyes. You've got company. It was Jenna's family. Her mom, Patricia, her dad, Paul, and her younger sister, Emily. They weren't just knocking, they were pounding like they had a warrant. We need to talk like adults. Patricia shouted. Ryan, bless him, had no patience for it. He kept recording through the peephole and said, he's an adult. You raised a cheater. Goodbye. You can't just throw away 3 years. Patricia yelled. He can, and he did, Ryan shot back. Leave before I call the cops. The neighbors across the hall started peeking out, and that was enough to make them retreat. 2 hours later, I got a Venmo notification. Jenna had sent me $3,000 with the note, for your half of the deposits. I laughed and sent it right back with a message. Keep it. Consider it a freedom tax. 5 minutes later, the money showed up again in my account. I sent it back. She tried again, and again, 8 times in total before Venmo froze both our accounts for suspicious activity. I laughed so hard I actually cried. By Monday, I decided to swing by the apartment to grab a few of my things. When I got there, Jenna was already packing. 3 suitcases sat by the door. I'm staying with my parents until you calm down, she said, trying to sound like she was still in control. Already calm. Already done, I replied. That was the first time I saw her mask slip completely. Jenna stood in the hallway with her suitcases, her face tight, like she was holding back tears or anger, or both. 3 years, Alex, she said, her voice cracking. You're really throwing it all away over one kiss. I looked at her, trying to keep my voice even. 1 kiss on Tuesday. Another on Saturday. That's 2 minimum. And that's just what I've seen. Her eyes flicked away, like she was trying to calculate how much I actually knew. Then she snapped. You know what? Fine. Tyler makes me feel wanted. You've been too focused on work. He has a boat. You don't. I almost laughed. After everything we'd shared, all the planning, all the money, all the supposed love, she boiled it down to a boat. Cool, I said finally. Enjoy the boat. I'll enjoy my dignity. She grabbed 1 suitcase and tried to storm out, but one of the wheels got caught on the door frame. The dramatic exit she wanted turned into an awkward struggle, yanking and tugging until the bag finally popped free. I didn't say anything, but inside I was done. Not just with her. With all of it. The next day, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Hey man, awkward, but can you tell Jenna to stop calling me? I'm trying to fix things with my girl. It was Tyler. That was the cherry on top. I took a screenshot and forwarded it to Jenna with the caption, looks like the boat has sailed. Her reply came fast. You think you're so funny. You threatened him, didn't you? No, Jenna. He just didn't want you anymore. By Wednesday, things escalated in a way I didn't expect. I came back to the apartment to grab more of my stuff, and the second I opened the door, something fell off. The living room was a mess. My PS5, my dual monitors, even my custom-built PC, all of it was smashed. The screen of one monitor was spiderwebbed with cracks. My graphics card had heel marks dug into it. A note sat on the desk in Jenna's handwriting. Oops. Accident. I didn't even have to wonder how it happened. The building security cameras answered that for me. It wasn't Jenna. It was Emily, her younger sister. She'd used Jenna's spare key to let herself in. She didn't even bother covering her face. I took pictures of the damage, pulled up the security footage, and sent one text to both Jenna and Emily. $4, $500 for the damages in 24 hours, or I file charges for breaking and entering. Seconds later, Patricia called me. You wouldn't dare, she hissed. Watch me, I said. And I meant it. By Thursday morning, $4,500 hit my account with the note. I'm sorry. Signed from Emily. That weekend should have been my wedding day. Instead, I went golfing with Ryan and my dad. The sky was clear, the air was warm, and for the first time in a long time, I felt free. I posted a photo of us on the course with the caption, "Beautiful day for freedom." Petty? Maybe. Worth it? Absolutely. But Jenna wasn't done. Not by a long shot. That night, she showed up at my apartment, in her wedding dress. That Saturday night, the day that should have been our wedding day, I came back to my apartment after golfing with Ryan and my dad. I was relaxed for the first time in weeks, still carrying that strange mix of relief and emptiness. But the second I turned the corner to my door, I froze. Jenna was standing there, in her wedding dress. The white fabric was wrinkled, the veil slightly crooked, and her makeup looked smudged like she'd been crying for hours. She saw me and immediately tried to push her way inside. "This is still my home," she insisted, her voice shaky but forceful. "No, Jenna," I said calmly, blocking the doorway. "You never paid rent, your name isn't on the lease, and you threw us away for a guy with a boat." She tried again, shoving at the door, but I held firm. By then, a couple of neighbors had poked their heads out, phones in hand, recording everything. Jenna's composure crumbled. She screamed, ripped off her veil, and hurled it at the ground. "You're going to regret this," she shouted, her voice cracking. Then she stormed toward my car parked nearby. I jogged after her, but before I could get there, she pulled something from her purse and tried to scratch the driver's side door. Except it wasn't her key. It was her gym membership tag. The sound of plastic scraping harmlessly against metal was so absurd that I couldn't help but let out a laugh. The neighbors recording were laughing too. Jenna spun on me, her face red with rage, and then ran off down the street still in the dress. The following week, everything unraveled for her. Tyler dumped her. His girlfriend dumped him. And suddenly, Jenna was back living at her parents' place, swiping on dating apps while everyone whispered about what had happened. Patricia, of course, wasn't done. She sent me one last email. "You'll never find another woman like Jenna." I wrote back, "That's the point." From there, my life slowly started piecing itself back together. I focused on work, picked up running again, and even signed up for a half marathon with Ryan. One morning at the running club, I met someone new. She wasn't flashy or dramatic. She was kind, grounded, and she brought me coffee after practice with a smile. When I joked that I hoped she didn't know anyone with a boat, she laughed and said, "No boat, just good shoes." It wasn't love at first sight, but it was real, and real felt good. Weeks later, I ran into Jenna at the grocery store. She looked drained, older somehow, like the weight of everything had finally settled on her shoulders. She hesitated before approaching me. "I should apologize," she said quietly. I waited, giving her the chance. "For the Tyler thing. That was it. Not for the lies. Not for the bachelorette post. Not for the destruction of my stuff. Just the Tyler thing." I nodded slowly. "Take care, Jenna." And I walked away. That was the last time I saw her. It's strange how quickly life can pivot. A month ago, I thought I was weeks away from marrying the woman I'd spend the rest of my life with. Now, I wake up lighter, freer, like a weight I didn't know I was carrying is finally gone. That weekend, the one that should have been my wedding, ended up being one of the most peaceful I'd had in years. Instead of stressing over flower arrangements and seating charts, I was on the golf course with Ryan and my dad, laughing like nothing had ever gone wrong. It hit me then. The life I thought I was building wasn't really mine. It was an illusion I was forcing to fit. Jenna tried one last time to make me feel guilty, showing up in her wedding dress, screaming, crying, throwing threats around like they'd undo everything. But in that moment, with neighbors filming and her meltdown spiraling into comedy, I realized something important. Her drama wasn't my responsibility anymore. After that, things moved fast. The venue refunded part of the deposit, the registry was canceled, and my Venmo account finally unfroze after her 8 failed attempts at sending money back and forth. My parents, who had been heartbroken at first, admitted they were glad I found out before the marriage. Ryan kept reminding me, better now than 10 years in with kids involved. Tyler faded out of the picture almost immediately. His girlfriend dumped him. He dumped Jenna, and suddenly she had no one left to blame but herself. Word got around. Small towns and social circles don't forget scandals like that quickly. From what I've heard, she's still living with her parents, trying to rebuild, but every time her name comes up, it's tied to the Instagram video or the ring footage. Me? I've been moving forward. I got a promotion at work, signed up for a half marathon, and even started dating again. The woman I met at my running club, let's just say she's the complete opposite of Jenna. No games, no drama, no captions about being stuck with anyone. Just someone who makes me laugh and brings me coffee after long runs. She joked once, "Don't worry, no boats in my past." And it's become our inside joke. A few days ago, I saw Jenna at the grocery store. She looked tired, worn down in a way that made me almost pity her. She walked up slowly and said, "I should apologize for the Tyler thing. Not for the lies. Not for the cheating. Not for dragging her family into it, or for smashing my stuff. Just the Tyler thing." That was the moment I knew I'd truly dodged a bullet. If after everything, she still reduced it to that, then marrying her would have been a lifetime of excuses, half-truths, and shifting blame. So here I am, sitting in my apartment on what was supposed to be my 1-month anniversary, writing this out. I don't feel angry anymore. I don't even feel sad. Just grateful. Grateful I saw who she really was before it was too late. People keep telling me I'll find someone better. But honestly, at this point, I'm just glad I found myself again. Goodbye, Jenna. Enjoy your freedom. I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.